Amara is gone! She has disappeared! The bride is missing! Amara!
No one in Akani Village ever imagined that a wedding filled with joy would end in heartbreak. On the morning of her wedding, the beautiful bride, Amara, disappeared without a trace. The only clue left behind was her torn bridal veil, discovered deep inside the sacred forest. What really happened to her? Before we uncover the truth, please take a moment to support our channel. We are on a journey to reach 1,000 subscribers. If you enjoy African folk tales filled with suspense, emotion, and powerful life lessons, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us bring you more unforgettable stories. Now, let's go back to where it all began. 3 weeks earlier, Akani Village was alive with excitement as preparations for a long-awaited wedding filled the village. Among the villagers was a beautiful and kind-hearted young woman named Amara. She was loved and respected by everyone, and in just 3 weeks, she would marry Kelechi, the hard-working young man she had loved since childhood. Standing beside her was her closest friend, Naya. The two had grown up together, and everyone believed their friendship could never be broken. As they spent time together preparing for the wedding, Amara trusted Naya completely. But behind Naya's smile, a quiet feeling of jealousy had already begun to grow. Neither Amara nor anyone in the village noticed it, and no one could have imagined that this hidden jealousy would soon change their lives forever. One morning, Naya visited Mama Sade, the village's respected herbalist. The elderly woman looked closely at her before speaking. "My daughter, never allow jealousy to find a home in your heart. It begins as a small feeling, but if left unchecked, it can destroy many lives." Naya forced a smile and quietly walked away. But Mama Sade remained troubled. For the first time, she sensed that something was not right. As the wedding day drew closer, Naya remained by Amara's side through every preparation. Amara never questioned her loyalty. She believed her best friend would always stand beside her. But each passing day made Naya's jealousy harder to control. Even as she smiled at Amara, a dangerous plan was beginning to shape. Neither Amara nor the people of Akani Village could see the battle taking place behind Naya's smile. The happiest day of Amara's life was approaching. So was the greatest betrayal she would ever face. The long-awaited wedding morning had finally arrived. Inside her bridal room, Amara stood quietly as two elderly women carefully helped her prepare for the ceremony. Every smile on her face reflected the joy in her heart. In just a few hours, she would become Kelechi. Just then, Naya entered the room. She smiled warmly at Amara before speaking. "Amara, Mama Sade is waiting for you in the sacred forest. She says there is one final blessing every bride must receive before the wedding begins." Amara looked at her friend without the slightest doubt. If the message had come through Naya, then it had to be true. With complete trust, Amara agreed to go with her. Neither of them spoke another word as they quietly left the bridal room together. Amara believed she was on her way to receive a blessing. She had no idea she was walking towards the greatest betrayal of her life. Amara followed Naya along the narrow path leading towards the sacred forest. The excitement of the wedding still filled her heart as she walked, believing Mama Sade was waiting to bless her before the ceremony. Naya led the way in silence. The deeper they went into the forest, the quieter everything became. After a while, Naya stopped before the entrance of a hidden cave. She turned to Amara and pointed towards the darkness. "Mama Sade is inside," she said calmly. "She is waiting for you. Every bride must enter alone." Without a single doubt, Amara smiled and thanked her friend. Trusting Naya completely, she stepped into the cave. One step, then another. As Amara disappeared into the darkness, Naya remained standing at the entrance. Her smile slowly faded. Fear, guilt, and jealousy battled within her. Before she could make another move, the ground suddenly shook. A massive roar echoed through the sacred forest as massive rocks broke loose and crashed towards the cave entrance. Within moments, the entrance was completely sealed. Amara was trapped inside.
Panic gripped Amara's heart. She rushed toward the blocked entrance and desperately called for help, but her voice echoed through the cave without an answer. Tears filled her eyes as she realized the rocks would not move. Just as hope began to fade, a faint breeze brushed against her face. Amara stopped. Fresh air was coming from somewhere deep inside the cave. She looked back at the sealed entrance one last time. Slowly, she removed her bridal veil and placed it on a large rock near the collapsed entrance. "If anyone comes looking for me," she whispered, "they will know I was here." With one final glance toward the entrance, Amara turned and followed the narrow passage, guided only by the faint breeze and the hope that another way out still existed. While Amara searched for a way out inside the cave, a young shepherd wandered through the sacred forest. As he carefully searched the area, something caught his attention. Resting on a large rock near the collapsed cave entrance was an ivory bridal veil. He hurried toward it and picked it up with trembling hands. The moment he recognized it, fear filled his heart. It was Amara's bridal veil. Without wasting another second, the young shepherd turned and ran as fast as he could toward Akani Village. He knew the villagers had to see what he had found. The young shepherd led Kelechi and the villagers back to the sacred forest. When they reached the place where the veil had been found, they saw the collapsed cave. Without hesitation, Kelechi rushed to the entrance and desperately tried to move the massive rocks blocking the cave. The villagers joined him, pushing with all their strength, but the rocks refused to move. Mama Sade slowly stepped forward and placed her hand on the falling stones. As silence filled the forest, Kelechi held Amara's bridal veil tightly against his chest, refusing to lose hope. No one knew whether Amara was still alive, but deep inside the sealed cave, she was still fighting to survive. Amara followed the hidden tunnel until she finally found another way out. Pushing through the thick vines, she emerged into a beautiful valley beyond the sacred forest. She had escaped the cave, but she was far from home. Lost in a place she had never seen before, Amara realized she had no idea how to return to Akani Village. Exhausted and unable to go any farther, Amara collapsed beside a stream in the valley. Just then, an elderly herbalist named Elder Kofi found her. Seeing that she was weak and helpless, he took her to his home and cared for her until she recovered. Although Amara's life had been saved, she remained separated from the man she loved with no way of finding her way back to Akani Village. Days became months and months became years. Amara made a new life in the valley, helping Elder Kofi on his farm and learning to prepare medicinal herbs. Though she found peace, she never forgot Akani Village or Kelechi. As Elder Kofi grew older, his grandson became like family to Amara. 20 years later, knowing her time was near, Amara called the young man to her side. She gave him Kelechi's gold wedding bracelet and asked him to return it to Akani Village. "Find Kelechi," she said. "Tell him I never chose to leave him." The young man promised he would fulfill her final wish. Keeping the bracelet and Amara's final message safe, Elder Kofi's grandson traveled to Akani Village. When he arrived at the village square, he found Kelechi beneath the giant baobab tree. Without saying a word, he opened the faded cloth pouch and placed the gold wedding bracelet into Kelechi's hands. The moment Kelechi recognized it, his heart stopped. It was the very bracelet he had given Amara on the morning of their wedding. For 20 years, he had believed he would never see it again.
As the villagers gathered around, Elder Kofi's grandson removed a folded letter from the cloth pouch and handed it to Kelechi. With trembling hands, Kelechi unfolded the letter. As he read Amara's words, tears streamed down his face. For the first time in 20 years, he learned the truth. Amara had never abandoned him. She had been trapped on the morning of their wedding and had spent the rest of her life hoping the truth would one day reach him. At the edge of the crowd, Naya heard Amara's name. Her face turned pale. The secret she had hidden for 20 years could no longer remain buried. Unable to live with the guilt any longer, Naya stepped forward and fell to her knees before Kelechi. With tears in her eyes, she confessed everything. She admitted that on the morning of the wedding, she had deceived Amara and led her into the sacred forest out of jealousy. The entire village stood in stunned silence. Kelechi held Amara's letter and the gold wedding bracelet tightly against his chest, unable to believe that the woman he loved had never betrayed him. Mama Sade slowly closed her eyes, knowing the truth had finally been revealed after 20 long years. As the sun set over Akani Village, Kelechi walked to the young tree planted in Amara's memory. He gently tied the gold wedding bracelet to one of its branches and placed Amara's letter beneath it. Elder Kofi's grandson stood silently beside him, knowing he had fulfilled Amara's final wish. Not far away, Naya remained on her knees, overcome with regret. From that day forward, the story of Amara became a lesson for every generation in Akani Village. They learned that jealousy may hide the truth for a time, but it can never bury it forever. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell for more unforgettable African folk tales. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next story.